Hi, I'm Lynn O'Shaughnessy of thecollegesolution.com, and today I'm very happy to say that I have Susan Knoppow from Wow Writing Workshop in Detroit, and she helps her online site helps students from around the world write wonderful college essays. So today what I wanted to talk to Susan about is how can parents help with this process? You know, they're already probably stressful about it and they want to get in there and change things up or, sometimes take control of the process, and I'm sure that is not what they should be doing. So Susan is going to be sharing some tips for you parents out there about how to do the best, what you should be doing when your child is writing this college essay to make it as good an essay as possible. So,
okay.
Susan.
We look at this, often people will tell parents, stay out of it, it's not yours, it belongs to your student, your parents. You care about your kids and you really want to help them and you want them to be able to present themselves in the best light. So we really believe that parents need a job in this process. Parents need a task and a role so that you can do the things that are appropriate and stay out where it's not. So the first way that we recommend parents get involved is in reflection with the student. I've even heard recommended that we stop calling these essays. Some schools call them personal statements. This is not an essay like a school essay. It's more of a reflection. So you know your child as well as or better than anyone, and you have an opportunity to have a conversation with your son or daughter about themselves. So we're not talking about an essay right now, we're talking about how to generate ideas for what to include in an essay. And the first question really is, what is interesting and notable about your child? We're not talking about achievements, we're not talking about accomplishments, we're talking about characteristics. What kind of child is your son or daughter? Is she a leader? Is she not a leader, but she's the strongest team member ever? Schools don't need only leaders.
Right.
They need
I think
people who do the work.
They get hung up on that, right?
Right, yes.
Parents go, oh my God, my kid's not a leader. It's like, no, they don't have to be.
Right, exactly. They can be strong participants, and that's important in life and in college. Is your child thoughtful? And if so, what does that look like? Has your child grown in some significant way over the last few years? Admissions reps are most interested in that growth, that change, and they're looking at who is your child right now. Not who was she when she was 11, not who was she when she was 14. Who is she now, and how did she get here? So those are conversations that you can have with your child. It's a powerful experience. I have had this experience with my own daughter in applying to college, so I've gone through this as a parent as well as a professional. And it's a good way to show your child that you care, that you understand who he or she is in a positive light. So that's where you begin. The next question, and this is what we do with all of our students, so you can do it with your own kids. Once we know what that characteristic or characteristics are, we look for stories that illustrate it. So if your child says, I want to show that I don't give up, that I'm tenacious, so let them start with a cliche. It doesn't really matter. I never give up. Well, let's talk about some times when you really held on to something and didn't give up. Let's really talk about that. Or I know how to help other people come to peaceful resolution in times of conflict. Well, when have you done that? Show me, with your siblings, with your friends, with your classmates. Again, this is a conversation. You're not focusing, you're not telling them you must write about this. You're helping them think about themselves in a different light. We just actually did a session here at the National Association for College Admission Counseling on the college essay, and one of our participants was a school guidance counselor who has this kind of conversation with his students. And he said he had a child come into his office and say, I've got nothing, I have nothing to write about. And it turns out that he just started asking him, well, what do you like to do? What kind of activities you're involved in? And the student said, I play the violin, but big deal, lots of people play the violin. He says, well, what else do you do? I volunteer at the senior center, but lots of people do that. Oh, but when I'm there, I teach people how to play the violin. And Ed, the guidance counselor, said, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Why do you do that? And again, it was another way to come at this idea of characteristics, not accomplishments. He wasn't getting prizes for teaching these people. It was because he cared, because he loved music, and because he loved to share. So as a parent, you can have those conversations as well.
And I think that is powerful to come up with detailed examples and stories, because I think so many essays are just kind of generalized, like I love music, without really explaining what,
Right.
the details behind that, why you really do.
Right.
And that can be powerful.
Students can start to look alike on paper, especially when they're applying to selective universities. Everybody has similar accomplishments, but we know that our children are unique individuals, and we try to help them in this essay to really reflect and look at who they are. So the next piece of advice I have for parents: when your child has written a draft of an essay, whether they've done this on their own, whether they've gotten help from another person, from their school, from outside advisors, read it with a sense of generosity. Remember, they listen to you. You want the message to be, you are good enough, you are smart enough, you are capable enough. I mean, remember, they are leaving for college next year. You want them to be confident and capable.
Right, that's true.
Put your red pens away. Step away from the computer. This is what I do, even as a professional, and I'll read hundreds of essays this year. I put away my pens, I put my keyboard away, push it away from my computer, and I just read. And I stop and I ask myself one question before I write a single comment. Don't worry, you will not forget to change the apostrophe that was missing. You don't have to mark it yet. I ask myself one question: what do I know about this person that I didn't know before I started reading the essay? Just that question. Now, of course, you know your child, so it's a little bit of a trick there. But what has been conveyed here? And if all that has been conveyed is that they had a really hard summer job, okay, then something's missing. But what has been conveyed is they had a really hard summer job, it was hard to get up every morning, but they did it, and they're not the kind of person who usually pushes quite that hard, then they've achieved it. If the message is, I now know that this child sacrificed on behalf of someone else, and that's a very mature thing to do, then they've achieved most of what they need to with the essay. Then you step back, and then you start looking at it as a written document. But be light in your edits. Don't change words. Don't move sentences. Even we, at the very end of our proofreading process, will sometimes leave little quirky things, because truthfully, admissions officers are not English teachers. They're not reading it with a red pen. They don't have time to notice whether the semicolon was misplaced. I'm not advocating for misspelling or messy grammar, but I am saying that part of the message you give your child when you respond to their essay is, you are smart enough, you are good enough, you are strong enough. And I believe very emphatically that at this time in their lives, they're nervous, they're feeling insecure, and they're qualified to go to college. And it's our job as professionals and as parents to help them feel like their best selves, and to help them be in a position to express themselves. And that begins with parents as well.
Great. Do you have any other those are great tips. Great tips, actually.
Actually, I do have one.
I thought you might have had one more. So
I have one other thing. One resource that I can provide for parents. We have an article that we've written. It's on our website, wowwritingworkshop.com. It's an article called How to Help Without Taking Over. It's available to parents, and we'd be happy to send it to you. Just go to our contact form and say, I'm looking for the article for parents. We also have a free ebook, which really gives a high-level guidance to how to approach a college application essay. Just go to our homepage, wowwritingworkshop.com. It's free to everybody. You can sign up and get it. And send us your questions. We love talking to parents, and it helps us do a better job with our students when we understand what concerns and questions parents have as they're helping their own children through the process.
Well, thanks, Susan. You gave great advice, and I hope this helps parents kind of maybe de-stress a little bit about this college essay, because I know it's such a big, huge topic that's stressful, especially for students, and it can be stressful for parents who are kind of watching their students or wanting their kids to start on the essay or finish the essay. So thanks so much for helping with this huge, big part of the college admission process.
Thanks for asking.